All right, so this is the third lesson in using simple shapes to make a little community. Hopefully you guys had fun drawing and experimenting with making different kinds of houses, some buildings or storefronts, and even had a chance to put some of them together to make a little community. What I'm going to show you today is you can take any of those and we can make it into a construction paper house that opens up, or building, or store, however you want to do it. So as an example, I've got this very simple house that I've started. And you know what's fun about this is a lesson that where you can decorate the exterior of the house, and then you can open it up and maybe add a couple rooms. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is if I wanted to make this type of a house, and notice I've got this trapezoid roof just like this guy here. You can cut out different shapes from plain white paper and paste it down. That's what I'm going to show you today with a glue stick. Or you can also just draw it directly onto your construction paper. Either works. You also might want to just use plain white paper, and then all of the color will really show up. But basically, I'm going to fold these edges in toward each other, and as soon as they touch, I want to make sure that they're lined up with the bottom and with the top. I'm using my other hand here to hold it down. But as soon as those touch, I'm just going to make a crease on either side. So now what I've got, it's almost like a card that opens up. Okay? And with this, I could make a A-frame roof with a real steep point, or I could cut the edges off to make more of this trapezoid shape, which is what I'm going to show you today. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look, and I'm going to want just a little bit of the flat area here at the top. So I'm going to sort of make a mark with my thumb of where I want to cut. And I'm going to cut this tiny triangle. Notice how that corner just cut right off. You see that? I'm going to take this same corner and flip it over and hold it with my other thumb. And now I know exactly the same angle. And I'm going to cut the other side. So now I should have a roof that's ready to be made, or a shape that's ready to be made into a roof. I notice this is a little bit irregular, so I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the very top off there. All right, so now that I have that, and I notice this makes kind of a smaller roof, I'm going to take my Crayola markers, and I'm just going to draw lines straight across, and I might go ahead and color that in for my roof. You might also want to use crayons. Crayons show up nicely, or if you do have oil pastels, those are always great on construction paper too. So really, while we're locked up in this quarantine during this time, what the key is using your imagination and using the materials you have. So I can go back here and just color that in. All right. Next, I'm going to make a door, and I'm going to go ahead and use this brown since I've got it in my hand, and I'm just going to take up most of the space on this flap, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. In fact, I might want to make it just a little bit bigger. I'm going to draw a tiny window inside of that, and then I'm going to do a circle, which I will leave and come in and just fill this space in with that same brown marker. All right. I did like the idea of using other paper and gluing that down for the windows. You could do the same for the door if you want. And in fact, another thing you could do is you could cut here and here so that the door would actually open. If you choose to do that, just make sure you leave enough space here. If you cut all the way off, the door's gonna come off and it's gonna be an open space. All right, so I'm going to just use some paper and I'm gonna cut some very simple squares. And I'm gonna wanna eyeball about how big. In fact, what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut a little strip of paper. And now I will have that paper so it's the same thickness. And I'm going to cut these. So that they can make windows. All right, this one's a little bit longer, I believe. And let me see. Yeah, and I've got these on both sides. So I can just take a glue stick then and glue those down. And what I might want to do too, let me get this third window glued down. Notice how I've got this tiny little window right there. So I'm going to take another little piece and just add that little window there too. In fact, that's a little bit thick. There we go. All right. At the bottom of these, I'm going to draw a little rectangle in the brown because those can be flower boxes. In fact, I might have all 3 flower boxes here. And then I can take some time and I can go in and just make some little squiggle marks, adding some green shrubbery, some little flowers. Or you can take a pink or a red or some other color that you want to add little flowers. All I'm going to do is just a little circle. And I might even go back and add another color in the middle just to give it a little bit of dimension. How about just a tiny bit darker with the red? Okay. And then I'm going to take my brown and put a little cross on each of those. And the last thing I'm going to do for the outside of the house is I'm going to make a little awning on each of those. So I'm going to lay down the flat side of my paper and I'm just going to mark it where it's just a little bit wider than the width of my window. Okay, and from there I can make a half circle. Now what I like to do to save time is I can fold this in half and cut 2 pieces at the same time. Okay, so now I've got these that can go on top. And I need one more, don't I? So I'm going to have this go right along the edge and cut that same shape again. And now I've got 3. Okay, and I'll go ahead and glue that down. And I want to just sort of overlap the very top of the window there, but try to line those up. And then we'll make some little awnings. How about if we use gray? I've got a gray marker here, and remember how when I was drawing them, what I was able to do is I drew a line right in the center, but I'm going to make that line just a little bit thicker because it's going to be like a little stripe. And now I'm going to draw a line that's somewhere not quite as curved as the outside line, but it's not going straight up and down like the middle line. It's somewhere in between, and I'm just going to draw those going off on either direction. Okay. All right, so there I have, and then I might want to go around on the very edge there. In fact, I think I'm going to go along the entire thing. Okay, so here I'm starting off with the exterior of my house. If I want to go back and add some details, what I like to use is a Sharpie. And I can add some shingles. Some of the same details that we drew before, you can now go and use marker to add them. And then what would be fun to see is after you've done the exterior of your house, and you open it up, you can make a room. And it's up to you. Maybe you make simple shapes to do a table and chairs. Or maybe you use a piece of paper and have it cut in a shape that fits inside here. So it looks like this is a room, and you can color to make it look like a bedroom or some other room. Maybe there are 2 other rooms over here. I'd be really interested in seeing what you come up with for the interior of your house. So that's a very quick demonstration on how you can take one of the buildings from the community that you drew using simple shapes and now making it into a little house out of construction paper. All right, good luck, guys.